Welcome to Big Bites with Caroline Collins. I'm serving up deep conversations with influential people. My hope is to leave you feeling inspired and motivated. Now let's dig in. Oh my gosh, we're doing it. Hi, friends. Welcome to Big Bites with Caroline Collins. This is the very first official episode of Big Bites, and let me tell you, it was a disaster recording. I sat down with my former co-anchor, Brody Logan from Fresno, California. He's the morning anchor at KC24, and I got to work alongside him for 2 years. He has an incredible story. He started in Washington, D.C. in local news, and he has worked his way around the country, and he's so insightful. He's a great mentor. If you're young in broadcasting, you got to bear with me here and listen to this episode or watch it. So I have this really cool way of recording a podcast from my computer. Well, I couldn't get it to work, so we ended up recording on Zoom. It's still a really great conversation, so I hope you guys still enjoy it, and please just bear with me while I learn how to do this. I'm literally doing this out of my house. I have no, news crew and production crew helping me with this, so things are going to evolve, but it's a great conversation, so I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. Welcome, Brody, to my podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm very honored to be the first guest and be the one to work out all the kinks so then everyone else can have a much smoother experience.
It was quite an adventure. It took us 35 minutes for me to get my microphone not working, because it's not working, and this podcasting recording system that I was going to use not working. Now I'm like, maybe if I would have just unplugged the mic, it would have worked, but it's fine. We're just going to roll with this.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Just go with it.
Well, congratulations on the birth of your second daughter. I'm so excited for you. Your second kid, first daughter.
Thank you. I am a girl dad. Thank you. I'm excited to not have to go to work. Not as either way, I wasn't getting much sleep, so I guess it's just a different type of not getting sleep, but without the work stress. I feel like baby stress is healthier than work stress because I've lost weight. I feel like I have fewer grays. Yeah. It's also just being at home and not driving to work and being like, oh yeah, I'll just go to Starbucks and get 9 things in the middle of the day. So
that's so funny. For those of you who don't know, Brody Logan and I worked together at KC24 in Fresno, California. I started at KC24 in 2020. This is back when Brody was just a father of one cute little boy, and now he has a daughter. So that's why he's saying he's lacking on sleep. He's a morning anchor. And basically about 2022, that's whenever we started to become known on social media, I would say.
Was it really? Yeah, I guess. Is it 2022? I don't know. I think I was probably just known in the background.
You were. As people thought that we worked together, but you absolutely hated me.
Well, I do, because you bailed on me and left me in Fresno.
We had quite the rhythm going. Basically,
yeah. Come on, it's very convenient. I could actually point out you were here, and then now you're like here somewhere.
I take it this is one of your son's maps that you have hanging there.
Yeah. It's a nice decor. Mel's paintings, and then I gotta adjust this one, and then the maps. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Man. So do people still to this day? Because I've been gone from KC24 for over a year now, and people still ask me about you almost every single day. Like, oh, we miss you and your old co-anchor. You annoyed the crap out of him. Which really, I don't think that I was annoying. I think it was just funny. But do people still ask you?
Well, it can be both. It can be annoying and funny. From time to time, but I think everyone here knows that you left. Actually, now, because I've been on paternity leave for, gosh, I guess I'm going on 3 weeks now. People are like, where are you? And I'm like, oh, you didn't see? We announced it on the air that, in fact, I got the message from Mel that her water broke in the middle of the show.
Oh, that clip was real. That wasn't fake. That was totally real then, because I saw your current co-anchor. She was like,
yeah,
You're having a baby right now? Your wife's having a baby?
We were in the A block of the show, which, if you don't know news, is the top of the show, in the middle of the A block. And I'm like, Mel, I need to finish out this block and then I can go. And so Karen, my current co-anchor, is in a read, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, what can I do? Where do I need to go? What do I have to do? Running through a million different things. It's like, oh, wait, no, I have to read a news story right now. And I did it. And I'm like, what do I do? And then literally, as we're going to break, I said, yeah, I won't be here because I think I'm going to go have a baby. And a day later, after an entire day of labor, yeah, little Melody arrived.
Oh my gosh. And then the name is the coolest name I've ever heard. Can you
Yeah,
like explain what went into that?
so I mean, this is a while ago, and I don't know, like I never thought I'd know what to do with girl names. And then it just kind of came to me. It's like, wait, my wife's name is Mel, Melissa Mel, and I'm Brody. And it was like, wait, Mel and Brody, Melody. And it was like, oh my gosh, it's an amalgamation of our two names. And the crazy thing was, everyone wanted to know what the name was. And we did this with Vandy. Like, we didn't want anyone's outside input or opinion on the name. Just, this is the baby, this is their name, deal with it. So that's why we did it this way. But one of Mel's nieces, who it's clearly the one who went to Brown and Oxford, Brandon was like, "Oh my gosh, you should name the baby Melody. It's a mix of your two names. It's Mel and Brody." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" And now she's going to take credit, like she came up with. It's like, no, no, no.
Oh no. So she thought of it
I
like
thought of
after you guys thought of it, but it was DL.
yes,
Yeah.
totally independent.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, I was like, wow, that's crazy. And it was so funny because even in my group chat with my friends, and they were wondering what the name was after she was born. I was like, well, it's a mix of mine and Mel's names. I'll let you guys guess. They're like, Brolissa, uh,
Oh my gosh.
like Meldrick. I'm like, yes, because my proper name is Broderick. Like, yes, we're naming a little girl Meldrick or Brolissa. And then my friend Brian, who hadn't commented, and there's just this string of guesses. No one's getting it right. And he just like comes off the bench out of nowhere. He just says Melody, like just hits it from half court. And we're like, oh, yep, you got it. So
Oh
yeah.
my God. I love that so much. Did you take paternity leave whenever you had Vandy?
So yes and no. And this is why I am taking every minute of paternity leave I can. And I advise everyone to do the same because so when I got before I was here in Fresno, I was a sports director in Denver at a station in Denver. And Vandy was born literally 3 weeks, I want to say, after my start date in Denver. Like me and Mel, we drove across the country from DC to Denver. She was 9 months pregnant. And I was
Wow.
like, what happens if she goes into labor in the middle of nowhere, Kansas, as we're driving? Like, what do I do? I seriously asked that to her OB, and it's like, well, here's what you do: find a shoestring, and you can tie off the umbilical cord. It's like, I was kind of kidding, but I guess now I probably need to know these things until emergency
That's
crews could arrive.
crazy. Oh my gosh.
Thankfully, that didn't happen. But so I started there, and that company offered a few weeks of paternity leave, but I felt pretty pressured to get to work right away because I just started there. I was the sports director leading a team. And I believe it was Broncos training camp or rookie camp, one of their millions of summer camps they have. And the station had a partnership with the Broncos. So it was like very important that we're there. So I even ended my paternity leave early. I was going, working extra long days, doing the training camps, doing all this, or sometimes not being able to be at camp and be like, hey, I'm just going to be in studio today so I can be home with my son. And they were like, yeah, that's cool. Well, so then I wasn't renewed for the second year of my contract. And something the news director said to me, it's like, yeah, and one thing we didn't like is you weren't really you weren't really present at Broncos training camp. And I go, I was like, are you serious? Now this is a new news director, not the one that hired me. And he goes, I know you had some personal stuff going on. I was like, I just had a kid. So, and I didn't even take my paternity. So the fact that they don't, your employer is not going to give you extra credit if you don't take your time. So don't, it's not worth it. So now I'm like, I'm taking every minute of time. I get a bunch of time through my current employer, and the state of California gives you another 6 weeks.
Oh
So
my
if I
gosh.
if I max out everything, I think I could take 3 months.
That's awesome. Good for you. Because
Yeah.
I don't think enough people talk about probably how challenging it is to for the woman to actually have the baby on top of taking care of your Vandy. How old is he now?
5.5. It'll be 6 in May.
Okay, so taking care of a 5-year-old and a newborn for Mel, that has to be so challenging on its own. How do you do it at home alone? I mean, I feel like it's necessary to have the man
Right. I
home to
mean,
help.
and just shoot, helping out all night when, she wakes
Yes.
up to feed or need a diaper change every 3 hours or so. So now thankfully Mel's mom's here and is helping out a bit, but it's also like basically once Vandy's done with school, we kind of, we've gone from playing zone to now we're playing man. Before it was 2-on-1, me and Mel against Vandy. Now it's man to man defense. She's on Mello, I'm on Vandy. Oh, I call her Mello for short. Um,
Oh, I wasn't sure if it was Mello or Milo. So, okay, Mello.
yeah, okay. Well, yeah, because Melody, but Milo works too. Um, so it it's good, and I love that my employer is not only um, allowing it and encouraging the leave, but it's a situation where it's like I'm not an employee. So I am locked out of all email. I am locked out of Teams. I am locked out of everything. They can't contact me. And that is
Really?
and that is so they can't put pressure on me or to make me think like, oh man, we really need you back here sooner.
For anybody wondering, Brody works for Next Star Broadcasting. So, something to think about.
Yeah, so that's a really good thing. I mean, at
That
first it
is.
was kind of fun. It was kind of funny because the company messed up the start date for my leave. It was supposed to be January 21st or 29th, and they made it December 21st or 29th, and I was in the middle of work. I'm getting ready for the midday show, and
Oh
then I couldn't use anything, and I was like,
no.
why am I why can't I couldn't use EMPS for rundowns. I couldn't work on scripts. And this happened maybe 20 minutes before the show.
Oh my gosh, that's for people who don't work in news, that's really, really bad. That's your lifeline right there, is
Yeah.
all of our access
It's
to
I
our
mean
computer and scripts.
it's your scripts. It's everything you need for
Yeah.
the show. And it was so funny because I was just like, hey guys, I'm actually working for another month. So can you please turn all this back on? But it ends up being a good thing because with Vandy's birth, I did feel that pressure to come back
Mhm.
early. And I mean I do feel the pressure here too. Like I just on my own, just thinking like, oh man, the team needs me kind of situation. But I'm sure they're fine. They're picking up the slack. It's just a one anchor show. And but the station is always understaffed and under duress. So they're used to it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty much local news. And that
Yeah.
pressure that you felt at your first job, I'm sure still exists today in 2024 at other companies, you know?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. But it might also be because I know the state of California, it might even be a state of California thing because I
Wow.
know the state of California gives a lot of paternity leave. And it was funny because, and Jordan, one of our former producers on midday, and he produces evening shows at Nexstar. Well, he had a baby 6 months ago and he took his full 3 months. He wasn't there. It was anything. And I was like, Jordan, tell me your ways. What forms do I have to fill out? What do I have to do this right? And he's like, actually, it's not really hard because I think he said it was a legal requirement that basically like you are on leave. You're not I'm basically not an employee right now. I'm like getting
Wow.
paid by leave insurance. So fine
That's
with it.
wild. That's so that is just, I'm so happy for you that you get to, and you have the most beautiful babies I've ever seen. Melody, I mean, I haven't met her in person, but oh my gosh, she is the most perfect little baby I've ever looked at. She's stunning. So,
Thank you.
oh,
She
she's so
is she is
cute.
perfect. She
Your
is
kid,
adorable. She's getting chubbier, which is good.
mhm.
So yeah,
I mean, your kids do look a lot like your wife, I will say, but you
that's
must have,
true.
they must have some
I
of you
think
in them. So she's
Vandy,
starting
I
to look
think
like you. Yeah.
Vandy looks like me. Melody, well, at least at the beginning looks like Mel, but then she looks a lot like Vandy at the same baby age.
Yeah.
So I
You,
don't know.
oh,
We'll
you
see.
guys have the cutest kids. That's so, okay, so how is Vandy doing with the adjustment of having the new baby sister?
I think at first, and I swear it was like someone at school told him, like, you're not going to get any attention. Because he was so excited about his baby sister. And it was just one day he comes home from school and he goes, Daddy, I feel like you're not going to give me any attention now because of Melody. I was like, where did this come from? I was like, man, one of his little friends that has a baby sister or something said something. Because now I got to deal with school influences because he's in kindergarten. But now he's fine.
Oh,
He's totally cool with it. I do think sometimes he feels a little like, hey, look at me, because he's had all the attention. He's had 100% of the attention. But I did explain to him, I was like, Vandy, you've had 5.5 years of all the attention from both me and mom. Your sister is never getting that. She
yeah.
gets 50% of the attention from day one. I was like, you can rub it into her later that you got all the attention for 5.5 years. And
That is
he
such a
liked that
Brody way of
justification.
look. That's such a Brody way of looking at it. I love that. That's so
Well, he
funny.
enjoyed it. Well, he's a lot like me, so he liked the way to look at it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I feel like for a lot of our listeners, it's going to pull in a lot of people who are trying to get into the broadcast journalism field, or people who are
Okay.
like young in their careers. And to an outsider, it looks like, you really have done it all. You've worked in really big markets in sports. You transitioned into news when you started working at Fresno into a morning anchor. You got married to a beautiful wife, Mel, and you've had two kids now. You have a newborn, and I know you're on paternity leave now, but like you're still working. Mel is very successful in her career. She's a dentist. So, I mean, looking in, and I know people look at me the same way, like, wow, her social media popped off. She's in Houston. So, like, what do you really tell people, or what do you really feel about where you are in life right now and everything that you've done in your career thus far?
I mean, it's hard. But first off, marrying a dentist helps. But no, but not, well, not just that. I mean, that's half a joke. It's a lot true. But being with someone who is not just cool with the way our business is, that it is so transient, and you're always trying to move up the ladder, that she's actually game for it. Like, in our previous few stops, it's been like, okay, we've been here a few years. Where are we going to go next? Kind of situation. Which has been nice. It's nice to have someone along with you for that. And I think, at least on the relationship side, that's why so many people in this business end up with people from this business,
Mm,
because it's hard. It's a business where you're always moving with odd hours. You work holidays. It's a weird thing. So what I would say to someone in, like, trying to get in this business, or maybe at a lower rung trying to move up or getting frustrated, um, is that I've had real people jobs, um, and they are not as much fun. They are boring. They're not dynamic. Now, granted, they have holidays off. They close. Other businesses close, so you don't have to work weird hours, and probably pay more. But the what's really cool, one thing I love about our business, one is the latitude to be creative and be ourselves and show personality and get to do things you maybe can't do otherwise. But it's also a case of, we all screw up, right? Like, not just in TV. You screw up if you're an accountant, you screw up if you're an engineer, right? But in those situations, maybe you're working on a project for 2, 3 months, and then you come to the end of it. If you've screwed up, well, then what are you going to do? It's like, oh my gosh, all that work is out the window. In our business, if I screw up in the A block, well, hey, I get another chance to not screw up in like 6 minutes on basically the same thing, which is really cool. And another thing, like, or say storytelling, right? With building a news story, you get an opportunity to make something that is your own and do it in your own way. But if it sucks, who cares? You have another one tomorrow. Um, like you get to try something. That's pretty rare, and we do have a lot of latitude to screw up. I mean, if you have management that's not crazy on you, or kind of knows your style, but it's also you have time to find your style. Like when I started in DC, I had never done local news or local sports. I had freelanced for CBS
Which
Sports and
is
ESPN.
crazy because that's a
I know.
huge top 10 news market and very competitive. So the fact that you had some experience doing sports in a different type of way, but not
Yeah.
local sports, and they took a chance on you, I would say probably because your personality is 10 out of 10.
Well, thank you. I think it's because I had ESPN on my resume. Um,
That's true too.
and
But I mean, you're so like, if I interviewed you, I would be like, oh my gosh, like this guy's
well,
hilarious and he's
I
smart and he's charismatic.
so I remember I was sent to cover a like local celebrity and football. It was like local media versus local athlete softball game for charity. And I was sent to cover that. And I had never had to write a package for someone else to edit, or like I had only put stuff together on my own with
Yeah.
like a MacBook out on the road, freelancing. And I had no idea what I was doing. And I remember trying to write a script and giving it to my editor, and he's like, "What is this?" I didn't know where to go to track. My tracking was all screwed up, and it was such a mess. And the photog editor, who at that time hated me, has grown to be like one of my favorite people, and like, and we partnered up on so many awesome stories that I just had someone had to sit down with me and go, "Look, here's an example of a story. Here's how I write it. It's basically just think of it as two VOSOTs or like two long VOSOTs." I was like, "What's a VOSOT?" Um, yeah, like I didn't,
Wow.
because
Did
I
they not
hadn't.
teach you that in undergrad?
They did, but it was, let's see, when did I start in DC? I mean, it was like 8, 9 years prior.
Yeah. Wow.
It and um so much of it because they were still teaching us non-linear, because they're like, you're going to end up in a small market, and they're not going to have digital editing stuff. And I'm
Are
like,
you serious?
I think it's only because that one professor was really old and she didn't know how to use digital editing software.
Oh,
But anyway,
interesting. I know
but
you
it
went
doesn't
to the
matter.
University of Miami, so
Well, no, they have all that now. It was literally just
okay.
that one professor who
That's
has
crazy.
since, I think, is still alive. I don't know. So, but but I didn't, I had only done stuff myself. So I
Mhm.
didn't really know the format to have a team collaboration, have someone else edit my stuff, or not just, or if I was editing with someone, I would just be sitting there with them, be like, oh, let's pick out that, let's do this, let's do this track, let's use these nats. Um, so I had to learn on the fly and basically figure it out. And I even got, I remember at one point a new news director came in, and I got the sports director at that time started like pull me aside, and he was telling me this story about when he was in Phoenix and things weren't going well. And basically he was told by his sports director at that time that, he needs to get it together or he's going to get fired. And I'm thinking, I'm like, why is he telling me this story? And I'm like, oh, he's telling me this story because this is my situation. He didn't flat out say that, but it dawned on me like, oh wait, this is what's happening to me. So I said, well, I was trying so hard, as I was learning the business, that side of the business. I was trying too hard to be what I thought local news and sports were supposed to be. And so I said, all right, well, if I'm going to get fired, I'm going to get fired being me. I'm going to stop trying to be someone else or like something else. And it was so funny because then after that change, uh, a year later, that same news director who was going to he brings me into his office to give me contract extension and raise and all this stuff, and he's like, "You may not know this, but I was ready to fire you." I didn't get it,
Oh my
and
God.
I was like, "Well, actually, I did know that." And he goes, "But I don't know what changed." And I'm just like, "Yeah, I started being myself." So that's like that's the biggest um advice I would give to anyone in this business going out there. Just
Yeah.
be yourself. I mean, definitely do things the right way, but do it your way,
Mhm.
because otherwise it's kind of pointless. They're gonna get rid of you anyway, or these places are gonna move on, or you're gonna find something else at another time. So you might as well do it your way and produce something that you're really proud of.
I love that. That's some great advice. And actually, Zoom is telling me that we're running out of time right now. Okay, so I hope we can record again. I hope you'll come on despite all the tech issues and the
We'll
craziness
figure it out.
of the first episode.
What do you
But
think? What do you think of my paternity beard?
you are right. You do are having less grays now. I'm surprised. You look like
See?
20 years old. I love it. You're more relaxed. I thought a new baby would stress you out, but no, the news is actually the real stress in life.
It's true. It's true.
Well, I'm so happy for you guys, and I'm glad that you dealt with me through this. I feel like this is like the low point. Like this is the lowest point, kind of just like when you start like a new newscast or whenever you like start a new job. Like that
Yeah.
first one, like you start at the bottom, and it's just gonna go
Yeah.
on up.
And yeah, you'll figure it out. The show will evolve, and it'll be good.
Yeah. Well, it was good seeing you. I'll be in Fresno soon,
You
so
too.
hopefully I get to see you guys.
Yeah. Let me know. Yeah, you'll get to meet Mello.
Yay! I'm so excited. Well, thanks for coming on the
All right.
pod.
All right. Bye.
Enjoy paternity leave. Thank you so much for joining me on Big Bites. Make sure to like and subscribe to the podcast so I can keep these inspirational and motivating conversations going. I love having you here, and remember, you deserve a seat at the table.